Salesforce started because I was swimming with a pod of dolphins outside the coast of Hawaii where I live. Yeah. And I was in about 100 dolphins, and I was one with the pod. And when I was one with the pod, all of a sudden in my mind, I saw this vision of what Salesforce could look like. And I came into Larry Ellison and I said, hey, I think I'm going to quit my job. And he gave me $2 million, and we started Salesforce. And that was that. That was 26 years ago.
Mark, how are you doing?
He's back.
Great to see you guys.
Back for round two. I prepared for this interview. I prepared for this interview.
Wasn't that bad?
I went.
No, we loved it. We loved it. I will say it was one of the most fun conversations we've had all last year.
It was amazing.
Wow. Really?
No, yeah.
Well, then you guys are just not having enough fun in your life. Okay. I'm your biggest fun.
Here it comes.
Don't sell yourself short.
The bogging starts. But I prepared for this interview by going to Slackbot, now powered by Anthropic, and I asked, what is the single best Metallica song? It said Master of Puppets. Agree or disagree?
Okay, guys, I know that this isn't at the tip of your tongue, so yes. I was ready. And I was going to flip it for your partner so he can get all the words, because we had some issues last time.
We did have some issues.
Go through the details.
Are you about to say? Are you going to give
Metallica,
us
Metallica? Name your tune.
Yes.
It was not a great moment for your show.
It was a rough moment. It was a rough moment.
It was rough.
Are you going to sign that? Moment. Are you going to sign that and send it to us so we can hang it in the rafters?
I'm not. No. It's mine. You can get your own. Metallica.com. We run it actually on Salesforce.
Oh, you do?
Run Metallica.com. You can get to your Metallica album on there and all the other good stuff that you need to kind of.
Okay, so I'm going to. I'm gonna give my recap of John using Slackbot this morning because this was an ASI moment for John. Okay. He was like,
I was very pleased with it.
John, we do the show all day long. There's a lot going on in Slack, and so catching up is tough.
Yeah.
This absolutely nailed the summary.
It did.
Immediately found something that was like very actually interesting and important. And we're like, whoa, we missed that.
I probably truthfully had about like 200 notifications across 15 different channels as they build up. And it basically put together a deep research report of every little item, picked it out, when am I mentioned, and it was exactly what I wanted to catch up. And then I went to it and I asked, okay, clear all of the notifications. It couldn't do it, but it gave me the shortcut, Shift Escape, and it did it in 2 seconds. So I was very satisfied. How has the response been from your customers?
Well, first of all, there's the response of my customer right there. I would say I'm so excited that we could finally get this out of the shop and into people's hands. I've been using it myself for months. Yeah. It's completely changed my life. I think it will change your life. I think it'll change your show. I think it's going to make everything better because, we've talked a long time about prompt engineering in AI. When you're writing your prompt, you're kind of coming up with your question. Yeah. Now you really see the power of context engineering. That is, it's looking at all the data about your show and everything you guys have ever said. It can even read your DMs. And then it's coming in and it's saying, hey, right here, this is what you need to ask Mark Benioff this question. This is the zinger for him. Yeah. And that's the prompt you could give it, which is, hey, based on everything we know about Mark, everything that's ever happened in the show, everything that's happening inside Slack now, plus everything that Anthropic knows, everything that everyone knows, what's the zinger for Mark? And then it's going to come up with it.
Yeah. Talk to me about the tone and the speed. I noticed that it responds like an LLM. It's giving me a few paragraphs. It's not acting like a person who might respond with on it and then, okay, here's what I found, and then it's like 6 different messages. Is that intentional? Do you like the tune, or do you see it evolving to your style over time? Where does all this go in terms of the flavor of Slackbot's personality powered by
This Anthropic? Is really different than our last interview. We're going deep in product. Okay, so number one.
We love it.
Number one, every company is going to have a customer agent and an employee agent. And that's why we've been working on Agentforce, to build the orchestration layer, the observability layer, so that companies can get out there with their agents. And that's what I've been so excited about. Then all the apps, like Slack is only one app we make. We have a whole bunch of apps like Tableau, our Sales Cloud, our Service Cloud, marketing, commerce, and on and on and on. We have a whole family of apps that help you run your business. And then a huge set of data capabilities, including Informatica, MuleSoft, our Data 360 layer that let you federate and integrate your data, which means that it's going to find all the data in your company and bring it together. Now, what you're not seeing yet in Slackbot, but what I have is that you just hit a button and it connects to all your Google sources also. And it connects to all your Salesforce
You're keeping the good stuff
sources.
for yourself. This is a fast takeoff scenario, and you're like, we're keeping this for ourselves.
And
we can't let it out.
Well, I was at a conference for the last 2 days, really cool conference in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Okay.
I live in Hawaii, so I popped over to Honolulu, and it was called the Honolulu Defense Forum. And there's so many of my customers there. It was really cool, but I didn't have time to get briefed on all these customers. So I'm doing the briefing myself. I just say to Slackbot, in real time, I'm meeting with this customer, tell me everything about the customer. And it's not just getting the experience from the public web, but it's also then looking at all my proprietary databases and saying, boom, here you go, Mark, you're ready. And the prioritization, I think you're going to have a great experience. I want to hear your exact feedback after you kind of get into it for a few days.
Yeah, well,
because it's changed how I work. It's awesome.
Yeah, I had a great experience. I didn't feel like I needed a smarter model. It did seem like I was on Claude 3, not 4.5, which I've used and is great for some things.
You want to know why you feel that way?
What? Yeah, why?
Because you're getting the data from Slack. You have so much data about your business or what your show, your everyone. That's what you've been missing in all of your prompts.
Yeah.
When you go on Anthropic or you go on Gemini or OpenAI or whatever you use, it doesn't know anything about you. It doesn't have your context. It doesn't have your data. And that's what I mean context engineering. It knows you now. It really does. It knows so much about you, your company, everything you guys have done, what you've built, this great show you have. And now it's able to really tell you. And you should ask it hey, what are the 3 things we should do to, increase viewership? What should we be doing to, increase our revenue, make us more profitable? What is my prioritization for the week? Because it knows so much about your company now, because of the huge investment you've made in Slack, you're going to get a great outcome. I'm really confident. And, I don't know if you've seen some of the videos that Mr. Beast has been doing, but he is really in it to win it on this. And he runs, his whole company.
People talk about Mr. Beast like he's this consumer guy, but this guy loves enterprise software.
He is the entrepreneur's entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, he's amazing. The first time I ever talked to him was a couple years ago. He goes, I am going to be like Steve Jobs. I am going to be like Larry Ellison. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I want to be one of the great entrepreneurs of all time. So he really has a mental model that's super unusual. Well, he runs his whole companies on Slack. So now he has the ability to kind of get to a new level by bringing AI in. Because when you take AI, data, and the app together, as you see, you get a tremendous outcome. AI by itself, the models, great, fantastic, but they're commodities at this point. We all know that. The data sets, those are commodities on the consumer side, but not your data set. The only one who has your data set is you. And then 3, the app. You've chosen Slack. Thank you for that. And so now you put 1, 2, and 3 together, and bam, you are ready to roll. You can now sleep with one eye open.
There we go. Give us a Super Bowl preview. What's been exciting in the past that you've done? What do you want to do in the future with the Super Bowl?
What's your most memorable Super Bowl? Let's start there.
I think there is going to be some pretty cool stuff coming from us for the Super Bowl. I'm not going to give you all the secrets.
Okay.
I may have already given you some of the secrets.
Okay.
But I don't think I can give you any more of the secrets because it is going to be astonishing what we're doing. And everything that we just talked about somehow serendipitously, maybe you guys already know. But everything that we just talked about, take all of that and make it into a Super Bowl ad over the last 10 minutes, and I think you're going to have something astonishing.
Well, what do you think about model pickers selecting the model that I want to use? How much of that should live with the end user? I go to Slackbot and say, hey, I want to use Opus or I want to use 4.5 versus your team deciding what makes sense for that overall, infrastructure that you've built, and then it's below the surface, and I don't really care as a user.
Well, you're already using a whole synthesis of models.
Okay.
Because Salesforce we make a lot of our own models.
Sure.
We use all the major vendors, and we bring it all together to get what you need to be successful. We don't want you to have to worry about that. We want to just deliver I want you hit Slackbot, and it just says, boom, here we go. And I don't want you to have to think about those things. I want to make it just a great experience, and I want to help you grow your business. I want to help you grow your customers. I want to help you service them. I want to help you make your employees more productive. That's what I'm excited about.
You guys have insane scale. As you look across to put it lightly,
it is crazy.
But specifically, have you been surprised by any industries that are resistant to AI? Like just blanket saying like,
there's so much dark things to AI that it freaks everybody out. I mean, how dark do you want to go? Like we can go
Let's
really
go dark. I mean,
it.
we were talking, there was the Journal had a statistic earlier. They said only 10% of adults are excited about AI.
I don't think that's as dark as I would go. I would say the rate of suicide that I saw with kids this year because of AI, that was one of the worst things I've seen in my life. It was very reminiscent of kind of what we saw with social media, kind of this unregulated technology dramatically impacting families in the most horrible way possible. I watched an episode on 60 Minutes a few weeks ago on character AI, and I could not believe what I was watching. And I think that dark part of AI, the unregulated AI, because we know AI is kind of, it's inaccurate. It's, it's very kind of unwieldy. We don't know how these models work. And to see how it was working with these children and then the kids ended up taking their lives, that's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. So that's the darkest part of AI. And I think we have to be careful. Tech companies hate regulation. They hate it. You hear that all the time, except for one regulation they love, Section 230, which means that those companies are not held accountable for those suicides. So those social media companies, or in this case now the AI companies, that's not, they basically say, oh, we're protected by Section 230. We're a platform company. They will quickly run to that regulation. But the reality is highly unregulated in every other area. So this is kind of a moment. Am I going too dark?
No,
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
You said no, dark.
We have these kind of conversations. We've talked about all this stuff, and in general, I wrote about this in our newsletter last week, which is that why would the average American all the interviews that all the lab CEOs have done have just resurfaced over the last couple years. Maybe they did the interview 5-6 years ago talking about how the classic line from Sam is, AI will lead to the end of the world, but there's going to be a lot of great companies created in the meantime. And so when I saw that exact video yesterday, had 100,000 likes on Instagram, right? So like that is everyday people just seeing this and being like, okay, they maybe like ChatGPT, but they're like, I like my job more, or I like, living in this world and being a human. So I think we have there's a real like narrative problem with the industry right now, and it's going to be tough to turn
if we're not about protecting our children, what are we about? So let's just start there. And because we now have evidence of what happens when it's fully unregulated, and because we have the evidence of this huge, horrible situation, we have to take action. And I think some countries, have taken a lot of action, especially when it comes to things like social media. If you're in Singapore, you can't use social media if you're under 16 years old. So it's like, it will eventually get taken care of. But we live in our world here in the United States, we're very much like, oh, don't regulate technology because we got to keep the innovation going at all costs. We got to keep the growth happening at all costs. And
so what's the real solution? What's the real solution?
So I get it.
Yeah. What's a pragmatic approach here? Because when at the same time, LLMs can have some negative externalities. We've talked about the example of if grocery stores were invented last year, all the headlines would be like, this guy just went insane in a grocery store, and that would be a huge story, right? Or like this person was murdered in a grocery store. That stuff happens. But it doesn't get written about
because of the
every day.
Store.
It's not because of the grocery stores.
It's just because.
And at the same time, AI, from an education standpoint, all the focus is on people not writing essays anymore. But there's very little writing on hey, this, a 15-year-old might teach themselves physics through using an LLM, and maybe that's amazing, right? So it's it cuts both ways.
Well, I own a media company too, not as exciting as yours. It's called Time. Mm-hmm. And in my little media company, we're held responsible for the content that we write and what we say. Oh, by the way, you are too.
Yes.
But in the case of this technology providers, they are not. So I think step one is let's just hold people accountable. Let's reshape, reform, revise Section 230. And let's try to save as many lives as we can by doing that.
Yeah. Who are you looking to in terms of leading the messaging around AI safety? Do you like Dario?
Oh, I'm turning it over to you right now.
Is it us or is it Dario?
I'm passing this over to you guys.
Okay. Yeah,
you guys can make this part of your narrative and take it forward.
Yeah, it makes sense. What about in the workplace? Have you had to contend internally with the idea of someone confiding in, as silly as it sounds, confiding in Slackbot about a problem that they're having in an HR context and how that might be a new territory, a new surface area for you to deal with?
Yeah, we need to talk about Slackbot safety.
I mean, it sounds silly, but really, if somebody goes and they're like, my boss said he's going to fire me next week, I'm overstressed, I'm thinking of doing something crazy, you're in this bizarre scenario for the first time in perhaps your entire career.
We are, and I think in two areas. First of all, as I mentioned, every company is going to have a customer agent, and you've seen there's 10, since we've spoken 10, 20, 30,000 companies, I don't even know what the exact number is today, of companies deploying Agentforce for their customers. And we've seen these amazing agents emerge like Olive at the Williams-Sonoma site, or we're going to see one emerge next week at the World Economic Forum in Davos called Eva. And every company has an agent to work with their customers to make them more successful. And when we deploy those agents, we have a tremendous architecture to create the guardrails to help prevent crazy things happening. We don't want, we've seen this where customers try to come along and have kind of cyber sex experience, with these agents on these websites. No, that's not going to happen, on the Williams-Sonoma site. Where that's not what we're going to use the turkey baster here for, okay? So we have a whole different approach.
That's good.
And so that level of guardrails is super critical. And on the employee side, we're doing exactly the same thing. We have to kind of, put those tools together and work with our partners, but also do a lot of deep engineering work to make it as great as we can. And that core platform, Agentforce, has all of those capabilities built in.
Okay. On the employment side, has AI rethought your thinking about employment planning, how many people you need to hire, the scope of the organization? Has it been a roller coaster, or do you feel like you've been on one trajectory, or the trajectory has changed? How have you been processing just AI making your employees more effective, potentially?
Yeah, what a great question. I would say that we have about 80,000 employees now, and we'll do a little over $41 billion this year in revenue. We're now the number one enterprise software. We're now the number one enterprise software company. In AI, we just passed 11.1 trillion tokens.
Let's go.
Whoa, crazy. So are
you surprised that companies are not getting valued on token generation yet? They're such big numbers.
I am. I think. We're probably number one or number two on the token side. That's probably has to do with our relationship with Bilbo Baggins. But otherwise, we've got this figured out. Okay. I would say what we have to do when we think about employment, to get back to your core question, I've changed the employee mix. This year we hired more than 20% more account executives. There still needs to be people like me and you who go meet with our customers to really explain all of the intricacies and nuances of the technology. There's a lot of false narratives and people playing the market and saying things about AI that are not true, especially in regards to the enterprise. And we have to go explain it and talk to it and build the relationship and show them and prototype and deploy. And so those people are more valuable than ever and more important than ever to us. On the engineering side, I've held my engineering headcount mostly flat this year because I've gotten so much productivity increase. I probably have about 15,000 engineers, and they're more productive than ever. I'm so proud of them. Look at what we just delivered for you guys. They're like doing great. And we need to go even farther. But you mentioned Anthropic. We own about 1% of Anthropic. I would say that, those coding tools, you mentioned Claude Code, other things, Cursor, we use that inside. We do things to have a more efficient, more productive engineering organization. And it turns out we've reduced the number of CEOs to 1 because of Slackbot. We can do more because we can deploy that AI technology to the CEO also.
You've spent your entire career in technology. Did the ChatGPT moment, did the AI boom, were you expecting it, or did it hit you like a flashbang? Was it just a massive flashbang that just hit you like a ton of bricks?
Hit me like a ton of bricks. I would say
we have a flashbang. In fact, I had to use it.
10 years ago, I had the nastiest dream about AI, and so I started a whole AI initiative at Salesforce called Einstein. And we became the #1 enterprise AI. And so we were building models, doing these things, making all it happen. I always believed that this time would happen, but it was more about predictive AI and machine learning and machine intelligence and these kinds of things. And we still use all that, by the way, to make this work. And then when the large language model emerged and prompt engineering emerged, and by the way, you may or may not know, but I'll give a little credit to my engineering team because they deserve it. But prompt engineering actually emerged out of Salesforce research. And then all of these companies, have new companies came along to say, we're just going to focus on the large language model. And it's been a huge, incredible success story. So I am just so impressed with what's happened in the last 3 years, but it's just another core part of our infrastructure now. And I think you see that in Slackbot. So getting back to Slackbot, it was just a seamless upgrade for you today. You have Slack. We added Slackbot. When we added Slackbot, we added all the AI and all the data capability. And now, actually, in the new version of Slack, you're going to see a lot of new CRM capabilities as well. You'll be able to manage your customers' information without even having to go to Salesforce. You will be able to manage your service organization. But here's the secret. Salesforce is behind the scene doing all of it.
Let's go.
And at some point, if you want to upgrade to the bigger, more advanced adult versions of all those things, you'll be able to do that too.
Okay, I want to talk about that because we've talked to a lot of companies where they have a single product, they're a point solution, but because of AI, they're able to add on other surface area. Everyone's bleeding into everyone else's territory. Everyone's expanding right now. What is it like running an organization where you might have 2 products that are now bleeding into each other? And do you have to go and play tiebreaker a lot? Do you have a pattern for this? How do you work through all that?
I love it. I think everyone should, innovate and create and compete with each other, especially inside the company. Some people stay in their lane, some people don't. I'm not going to interfere with that. We have these tremendous leaders like running Slack or our sales product. Our sales and service product are $10 billion products each. They are some of the largest products in the software industry.
Let's go.
And the new versions are incredible, but the new versions are all Slackbot first, and you haven't seen them yet. But if you want to get a demo later after the show, you'll see Slackbot and Slack sitting on top of Salesforce, and that boom, you can have all this incredible productivity, but it's the lineage of Salesforce coming forward into the present moment reality of these unbelievable new advancements in AI. And that is what I've been working on. So a Slackbot first world, the ability for every company to have a customer agent, an employee agent, the agent force layer, all these incredible family of applications we have. We just bought a company called Informatica, by the way, for like $9 billion.
Let's go.
And it was kind of an incredible acquisition. Oh, all right, well, there we go. But I always love the company.
Yeah.
But, they've done things in their new technology that for AI, if you don't have your data right, you don't have your AI right. Remember, the reason why Slackbot is working is we have all your data in there normalized. And so it's able to take all your data and give you really cool answers. Well, every company needs to normalize their data. So that's why we bought Informatica. Everybody needs to integrate it together. And then you have to go and connect all the other data sources in the enterprise, like Snowflake or Databricks or BigQuery or Redshift or even IBM mainframes. We call that zero copy. So our system goes out, grabs all that data in all these other places, brings it together like it is for you already in Slack, and then everything sits on top of it and you get this really powerful AI experience. So that's what's going on. That's what's exciting for me every single day.
Let's talk about M&A. You talked about Informatica. There's, the SaaS apocalypse has been widely reported. I'm sure you look at some charts and get a little excited.
I'd rather not look at the charts. I can't figure them out. I mean, our revenue and profitability and cash flow go up, and then the stock is all over the place because people think there's some weird end of SaaS. But I would just ask you guys, did Slack become a lot more valuable for you today or less?
Way more. Yeah,
way more.
Of course.
Way more.
No, and I'm not talking about
way
that.
More.
I'm talking about you looking for value. You've done a ton of M&A. Like, you must look around at companies that you feel like are oversold.
I think there's a lot of incredible opportunities right now in the market. And if you were not looking at, look, we do about 15 or 16 billion in positive cash flow a year. We're going to use that. We're going to buy back some stock. We're going to buy back some stock. We're going to do some dividend action too.
Fantastic.
But what else are we going to do with our cash? I think we should buy some companies also, because I love organic innovation, but I love inorganic innovation too. I bought about 100 companies.
Give us a 3-minute M&A masterclass. There's a lot of companies whose market caps have inflated. They've got a bunch of cash on their balance sheet. They're 1% of the size of Salesforce, but maybe they're starting to think about M&A. What have you learned about how to do it well in a few minutes?
And this is the last question.
You have to innovate. Innovation is one of our core values. What are our core values? Trust, customer success, innovation, equality, sustainability. Those are our 5 core values. We can talk about any of those, but when we talk about innovation, we talk about organic and inorganic innovation, right? Organic is those 15,000 engineers making Slackbot. It's 100% organic. But then, but it's not, because we bought Slack. Remember 5 years ago when I bought Slack? Because I love Slack. I thought they did such a great job. I thought it was a one-time trade. I don't think anything was going to replace it. And I thought I could make it a lot better. I thought I could put it on top of all of our products. I thought it could be a user interface for the future. I thought AI would be incredibly benefited by the data inside Slack. We just proved that to you with Slackbot. So we bought Slack. Well, it was a huge purchase at the time, one of the biggest ever in the software industry. I think it was like $25 billion, our biggest. But guess what? The value that it's provided now, it's not a sub-billion-dollar company like when we bought it. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. I think it's like almost $3 billion or more. I don't have the exact number in front of me. But you can just go, wow, this is like incredible, the value that Salesforce and Slack together provide. And that's what I'm looking for. Or Informatica plus Salesforce together. Or MuleSoft, I mentioned. We bought it when it was a $300 million, revenue company. And, now it's a huge multi-billion-dollar software engine as well. So we have so many of those, and our job is to buy them and make them work. Not all of them are going to work. Acquisitions are very risky. You got to be really careful, and then you can have it all worked out and it still doesn't work out. But it's worth it to take the risk, because innovation is risky, and organic and inorganic innovation, you have to do both. And
what is a good hit rate? What is a good hit rate at scale? You said you bought something around 100 companies, but for when you're talking like with your M&A team, like, how often are you okay with them just, and the company just swinging and missing?
I have such a cool team there because not only do they do that, they also run a $5 billion investment fund. We have invested in so many amazing companies and taken so many amazing companies public. We just sold Wiz that we helped start to Google. Yeah. We helped grow Snowflake and took it public and made I think we made $1.5 billion on that. I think we made $1.5 billion on Wiz.
We're just
I think we have now about a point of Anthropic, which is a few $1 billion or so.
Fantastic.
And it was started, when it was a tiny company. Yeah. So we love investing, number one. We love buying things, and we think all of that is innovation.
I love it.
And it's all in one big innovation bucket. And but we're trying to do something that others have not done is we're trying to innovate in the enterprise at scale.
Yeah.
And that is the hard thing because, look, as I said, we have 80,000 people and more than 41 billion. And we're going to start our next fiscal year out on February 1. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a massive year, bigger than that. So I'm like going, whoa, these numbers are huge, but I've got a huge dream. I'm trying to go as fast as possible, to 100 billion in revenue, but while maintaining this incredible profit. Oh, we're one of the most profitable enterprise software companies too. We're delivering more than 34% margins this year.
I have one last
so
question.
Much for coming on the show.
Last question: Are dreams an underrated? Are dreams an underrated source of business alpha? You said you had almost a nightmare about AI, and that started Einstein.
Yeah.
Do you look for signal in your dreams?
I pay attention to my dreams. I pay attention to my visions, my insights. And, Salesforce started because I was swimming with a pod of dolphins outside the coast of Hawaii where I live. Yeah. And I was in about 100 dolphins, and I was one with the pod. And when I was one with the pod, all of a sudden in my mind, I saw this vision of what Salesforce could look like. And
Incredible.
I came into Larry Ellison and I said, hey, I think I'm going to quit my job. And he gave me $2 million, and we started Salesforce, and that was that. That was 26 years ago.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing the story with us.
Thank you, Dolphins.
Thank you, Dolphins. Thank you to the Dolphins. He's got the sound. The sound is amazing. Look at that.
Thank you, Dolphins.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Take care of the Dolphins and the whales. Those oceans.
We will talk to you soon. Have a great
rest of your day. Love you guys.
Goodbye.